Welcome to Living in Fullness with Naki.
This is CEO's Corner, where strategy meets story, and we meet the human behind the title.
I am your host, Naki hLOMAYI.
Real leaders, real stories, real impact.
Hello, lovely people. Welcome to another beautiful episode of the Living in Fullness podcast. You are tuned into the CEO's Corner segment. And I am excited to have you here because this is a place where strategy meets story, a place where we get to speak to leaders who are trailblazing leaders in various aspects. And I'm excited today because with me, I've got a chartered accountant, a registered auditor, someone who's got over 18 years of experience in private and in public sector. I love most what she's doing on LinkedIn. I was telling her just now that I see you everywhere on my LinkedIn. When I open it, I see your name, and I love the fact that she's able to be a CEO and to drive that aspect of her brand. So that's amazing. I can't wait to hear from her today. I've got the amazing Ncumisa Saba-Mkunqwana. I said I was going to say something right.
You said it perfectly. You said the same name perfectly.
Yes.
Thank you
Ncumisa.
for having me. Hi, Naki.
How are you feeling?
I'm all right. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Slightly nervous, but I think I'll be fine.
You can never be nervous. You're not even allowed to be nervous. You speak every week some way.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, but we're going to start with some icebreakers.
Okay,
right?
all right.
Because a lot of people, when they think CEOs, because you're the CEO as well of Chapu, is it Chapu Incorporated?
Chapu Chartered Accountants.
Chartered accountants, yeah. And I think when people think of a CEO, they think of someone who's very serious, who is always grounded. So we also want you to be a little bit relatable. So we're going to start with some icebreakers. Are you ready for that?
Yes, I'm ready for that.
Do you want to start easy or difficult?
Let's start easy so I can ease it into it.
Okay. If you were to pick between being hybrid or being full-time, what would it be?
Hybrid.
Hybrid, why?
Because it allows me the flexibility to do the other things that I love. It allows me to be present at home and also still deliver. So that flexibility, I enjoy it most. And also you don't get stuck in traffic as well. So hybrid definitely works. But obviously there are engagements where now you need to be physical as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you were younger, what did you want to be?
When I was younger, I'm not sure, I won't lie, but I think I know my parents wanted me to be a doctor, funny enough. My brother was a doctor. So I think they all thought we were going to be doctors. And I was like, no, man, we can't all be doctors.
Maybe a PhD, you can still be a doctor.
Maybe I'll look into that.
You can still make them happy.
I'll find time for them to look into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have a specific career, I think. I think I just fell in love with accounting.
Love it. Love it. And 3 qualities of a good leader.
Active listener. So be a very good listener. So sometimes just listening to the stuff really helps. And you also get a different perspective. Mm-hmm. I also like to getting to know the person. I think we'll touch into that, like getting to know the person. So, and I'm also quite, in my leadership style, I use a lot of empathy just to lead. I can also be very strict, but I do it quite tactfully.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I've seen you write about that, but I don't want to get into it yet. But I have questions for you around that. Okay. And what's a myth about CEOs that people have?
I think the myth is that you don't have another life. Your life is just work. I think that's a myth. And that you're always serious. So I'm not always serious. So I also like extreme sports. So I've done bungee jumping twice in my life. So
wow.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
I loved it.
Would you do it again?
Yes.
No, thank you. It can miss me. I've struggled with trying to think about doing it. Talk about doing it.
So, I did the highest one in the world. The one
where is it?
It's in Eastern Cape. It's in Tsitsikamma, between Eastern Cape and Western Cape.
Shucks. It can't be me.
It can be you.
Did you not want to give up when you got to the...
No, I was ready for it. I was. That's maybe how I relieve the stress of.
Probably just... no, that would just
how I relieve the
heighten my
stress.
stress level. Okay. So now, in terms of your experiences, right, what 3 values or experiences have shaped the way you view success and growth?
So I think the 3 would be definitely service excellence. So whatever I do, I want to excel. And I think it was also embedded in me from a very young age. And it has, I think I've gained from it. There's a lot of positives that I've seen coming from it. Relationships. So in terms of really getting to know a person and creating relationships. So as much as I'm quiet, I'm really good at creating relationship and maintaining those relationships. And even in the roles where it was difficult, so I'll touch on to when I was at the HSA, where I was auditing the auditors. Much as now you are giving them high-risk findings, you say you're not compliant, but I was doing it with a smile. And, and that relationship will then help me to even deal with those difficult conversations. And my name anyways means the one who made us smile. So,
and you have such a beautiful smile.
So that's my name.
Yeah.
And I think everything really, I do it. Humility is quite important as well. So I don't think I've made it in life, and therefore I can't associate with certain people. I'm not like...
Oh, that's a good one. Humility is a difficult one. I mean, when I hear people say humility and they're leaders, I think then you are someone who is very solid on their values, because normally with growth comes pride. Pride of I've arrived, I know it all. There's no more learning for me. I can't associate with specific people. So, I do see it in you. And I was really looking forward to this conversation. So I'm hoping I won't go over time.
All right. Let's see.
But we're done with the icebreakers.
All right.
So for people that don't know you, who are you? What do you do?
Okay. So Ncumisa is a girl from Eastern Cape, from a village called Mbuti location in Auditor. I grew up in a very busy home. I think my mom was a teacher, and she also was quite entrepreneurial minded. So after school, she had a farming business that she was running, and her first car was actually a taxi. So she also had a taxi business. So my love for accounting, I think I got it from there, because when the taxis would come home, I would help her count because safer then. There was no one that was going to come and take the money.
Yeah.
So you'd help her count. So when the drivers came, you would help her count money and help her go to the bank. So I think that's where the love for money and accounting came from. And excellence was really in my childhood. You were expected to be excellent. You needed to know all the chores, whether you're male or female. So my brothers knew all that. There was no one says, I can't do dishes. Everyone did everything. And I think that also gave us the ability to say, I can do anything and everything. Did very well academically. I was not really sporty, so I did very well academically, and I got a scholarship to study at Nelson Mandela University. And then my scholarship was through Deloitte, so I did my articles through Deloitte. And then from Deloitte, I then went to General Motors in South Africa. And then from there, I joined the Office of the Auditor General. And really there, I was in the audit quality, because at General Motors, I was on the finance department. So I wanted to go back to audit. I realized that, actually I enjoy audit more than finance. There's a bit of a challenge than the routine of finance. So I went back to audit, but I went onto the quality side. So I actually started specializing in audit quality.
Nice.
And I went up through the ranks. By the time I left, I learned a lot there. By the time I left, I was the executive responsible for quality for the Office of the which really helped me. I then went into entrepreneurship, joined Chapu as a quality director. in 2023, beginning of 2023. And within a year, they were like, girl, you need to be the CEO. So I was the
Listen.
So I was the CEO. So I've been the CEO of Chapu since 2024. Yeah.
Sure. You've got such an incredible career path. And also you've had quite a lot of pivots, right?
Yes.
And it makes me think a lot about how then does one, like what separates someone who just reaches the plateau of their career and someone who gets to the level that you have gotten to? What separates the two? What qualities should you have to be that person who just gets into an organization in a specific position and then they see that, no, actually, we need you as the CEO? What qualities does someone need to have to be able to get there?
So I would say the main quality is being, funny enough, quality driven. So quality of your output, quality of what you are actually bringing in, you know, and that's what we also do with our clients. We say we are problem solvers. So we're coming with solutions to help you with the problem. That's really one of the key principles we have at Chapu. So I think they could see that I was like, I'm not deterred by problems, you know, and that I think I left out in my story is when I was in my second year of articles, I actually fell pregnant. And I had my son in June. And I was like, I'm writing in November. I am going to sacrifice. I'm going to take 4 months maternity leave. I'm only going to take 2 months so that I can write the board exam. And for me, that shift, I think it happened there to say, when you are in a crisis, you must not look into the crisis. You're like, okay, what's the solution? What can I do to then, because now come out of it. Because now I'm going to be a mom. I'm going to be a single mom. I need now to pass this thing so that I'm able to provide for my son. He's now 17. So that that problem-solving mind. Also, I think also when I joined Chapu, even their values and their principles aligned with me. So being responsive.
Right.
Yeah. So being responsive, really in your responsiveness, you are not just responding for the sake of being responsive, but really the quality of your response as well. So I think that responsiveness would elevate you. And I don't know a person that likes to talk a lot, believe it or not. But
why does it sound like you're trying to convince me?
But what for me has worked is actually talking, you know, and sharing your viewpoint, because I promise you, Naki, no one has the same view as you. And now you come with a different perspective that people didn't see it that way. So I think those are the qualities that have helped me. And I'm really dedicated to my craft. So I'm dedicated to think I enjoy work, you know, I enjoy my work. So sometimes my husband is like, are you even stressed? It looks like you're enjoying what you're doing. So I enjoy, yes, I'm enjoying the business. I enjoy the craziness of work as well.
Yeah. So then at what point, because of the pivots that you've made, at what point do you then know when to leave a company? Because I mean, you said that, okay, you were here, you decided to go back to audit. How does one know when they've reached a ceiling and say, you know what, I'm done here. Let me go to the next thing.
Okay. So for me, when I left audit to join finance, I wanted to experience finance because I've never really been in finance.
Yeah.
And I got there and I always like changing things. So I'm very innovative.
That is so me. Yeah.
So I got there and I was making changes and, you know, they were quite welcomed. And then I was like, okay, then what's next? Now everything, I've fixed everything. I've automated things. I think that was even before AI. And I was like, okay, now what's next?
Yeah.
And I think for me, that reflection to say, okay, I think I've done what I've come here to do. and it's no longer aligned with my purpose. So the importance of knowing what your purpose is. And I was like, okay, now I know the 15th to do this, the 25th to do this.
There's routine now.
Yes. And I was like, I'm no longer really solving problems because now I fixed this thing quite well. And I was like, but what did I enjoy? So I think I was reflecting to say, what did I enjoy? I've chosen now this accounting route.
Yeah.
What is it that I enjoyed? I even did my tax masters during my time at EM because I wanted to know, because now I was dealing with SARS.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know. So that constant learning, and you realize, okay, now the learning is for me is now reducing in terms of what I'm learning. So I was like, okay, let's rethink. What else do you enjoy? So I think it's important that, hence I then said, okay, let me go back to audit. But now with audit, because now I also have a baby, couldn't travel as much. So I also needed to be smart. So it's important to know your circumstances, to say, okay, now in my circumstance, I can't be on an audit for 3 months away from home. I needed to still be in audit, but more on the support side so that I'm able to still be a mother too. So that was the main. And then when I moved from Auditor General of South Africa, I was at the peak now of the unit. I was the executive leading, developing, but I was like, no, man, but there's I want to make more impact. And if now I go to the corporate executive, which is the next role, it's more now you are so far from the people, you are far from the technical work, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I don't think in terms of now where I want to go. It's aligned. And praying, hey, I'm a big prayer. So my faith, at times I would have those conversations with God to say, where to from here? Yeah. And taking that time to really reflect and say, are you really,
I hear you. And I think I completely agree with, once you have experienced consulting and you're a very innovative person, it's difficult to do BAU. I think for me, that's one thing I noticed about myself, because I was in KPMG and I did the articles 3 years. Then I went into the bank, and I also got there a lot of things with manual, automated stuff. Got to a point where now I can just extract reports quickly. I felt like I'm done. I've done what I have to do here. So the moment it now becomes BAU, where I know on the 10th, I have to submit this. The first 10 days of the month, this is what happens. I get bored. So I also then know when I get to that point where there's nothing else to learn.
Yes. It's time to, and it's no longer challenging you anyway.
It's no longer challenging you. Because for me, my CV is always at the back of my mind. Like, I don't want to put the same thing for the next 8 years. You know what I'm saying? To say this is the experience that I've gained. But now one thing that I've also seen about you is you're good at balancing life. Well, at least it looks like it. You do a lot of things. Like, I meant it when I said, when I opened my LinkedIn, Ncumisa is there somewhere. There's an event you're at. There's also strides you're pulling there in Chapu. It's a lot of things. You're a mom. How do you find that balance? How do you manage to make sure that you're still, because you're quality driven, you're still producing quality in all these 3 areas? How do you do it?
Yeah, so it's maybe it appears balanced. I think one thing when I joined entrepreneurship was the realization that balance, there's no work-life balance. Never gonna find balance. So what I've done quite well, I think also with the support of my Chapu Exco team and my husband and the family, is the integration. So I've integrated it in the sense that if I need to go to attend mom's thing at school, I'm able to do that. And that also, that hybrid approach that we've applied as Chapu has helped. And also having those conversations with family to say, I won't be able to do 1, 2, 3. So I think my husband really steps in and assists as well in some of the things when I can't come to events. But I try to be there, especially for the kids, because at the end of the day, don't want to be that mom say, hey, mom, when you were never there, you're always running this Chapu thing of yours. So that balance. what I've also done with also the help of the Chapu team is with the quality unit. So we actually established a quality unit within the firm. And most, I think majority of other small firms wouldn't have that because it's not bringing in money directly. There's no, So, but we thought it in looking in the long-term strategy of the firm, it's actually quite a critical unit to have so that not everything falls on me. So now with this quality unit, we've been working on expanding and capacitating that quality unit. And so not everything then is just me. I'm now overseeing and developing and mentoring the quality managers and actually getting, I think with the firm now really growing, you're also able now to actually afford to pay experienced specialists to actually come and take those functions. So I've tried then to balance there at work so that as much as I'm still responsible for the overall quality of the firm, but now I've got it's capacitated with other resources that are doing the quality work. And we've actually expanded the quality not just to be on the external audit work. We've actually done it on each and every report, even coming from the other divisions, so that we're able then to deliver a quality product as a firm. So it's not just external audit that benefits. And we've seen the direct benefits from that, even though the unit itself is not a money generating unit. So, and also at home, so I think even having my son early, I had to learn to collaborate.
Right.
So if before collaboration was the in thing, I was collaborating. I also realized then that I needed someone to help me, my helper. God, I thank God for her every day. So, so that collaboration of saying that not everything then needs me to be there physically, but having then a support system. So I've tried to build a support structure that then helps me to be able to do all the multiple roles that I do. And spending time, I mean, some days I'll even say, let's, even though it's part of the Chapu, we're working now on wellness. Now bring let's go for a walk. We're all going with Chapu. So, the family also is part of it. And also I then also try to ensure that I'm part of their activities. So there's no balance, I'll be honest.
There's integration. That's what you're basically saying.
Yes.
And I think part of what helps with that integration is how the work system is set up, right?
Yes.
And I always say that that's one thing that COVID brought us, which is great. The whole hybrid situation, people being able to integrate their personal lives as well as their work life. Because I think going back to us having to go to the office every single day affects people's personal life.
Yes.
And then that's where there's no balance.
Yes.
There's not even integration. So, I mean, I think about it because for me, I've been working from home since 2019.
Oh, wow.
And I have no idea how I would cope if that wasn't the case. Because working from home allows you to do more. It also allows you to do your work happy. Like you enjoy what you're doing. You do it at a pace that works for you. Though, of course, in consulting, sometimes it's dependent on your client, the pace that your client detects for you.
Yes.
But I love that. So now, in terms of, you mentioned your team quite a lot.
Yes.
And you seem to be that leader who involves her team, who involves the people around her. So you seem to be a very great leader. But I want to understand from your perspective, right? I think in the beginning you did mention that you are a great leader. You smile a lot, you laugh a lot, but you're also very strict. So how do you find that balance as a leader where you're nice to your team, you're a present leader, you laugh with them, you're relatable, but also there's accountability, there's expectations in terms of what they produce work-wise. How do you find that balance?
So I think one thing that also helps at Chapu is the way that we've structured it. So even in our mission, we talk about having a conducive environment for people. So I think for us, people are quite critical, So for me, it's people, process, and the product. I'll call it the 3 P. So deliver a quality product, you need people, and you obviously need processes. So when when we're now looking at this conducive, because you want to create an environment that's conducive for them to be able to produce the quality product that you want, or the quality report that you want. But also what we've done is have then a set of values, right?
Okay.
So we've got a set of values to say, firstly, at Chapu, this is how we do things, the Chapu way of doing things. And then from those values, so we've got our values, we also then have our principles, or golden principles. I think I touched on one of them, the responsiveness being one of them. And one of the principles is then accountability. Also one of the principles that it's actually sitting strategy and also in our KPIs. So then how I do it is we obviously have, so we had to formalize, I think, beginning of the year, a lot of our HR processes, and we got a senior manager responsible for people, because initially it was a consultant that was helping us.
Yeah.
And in that process, we then developed KPIs. So KPIs are quite important. And I sit with you and say, okay, Naki, this is now my expectation of you. And our KPIs are linked to the strategy and are linked to our values and our principles. So then it's easy then to hold you accountable. And it's also easy to say, I expect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's written down and we are aligned. But it doesn't then change the environment, because I still want to create a conducive environment for you to be able to deliver on that expectation. So having those clear upfront conversations so that it is clear that, okay, this is the expectation that I expect. And it's really not something out of the sky. It's doable.
That's doable. I think that's
something that's doable. And also another thing that maybe differentiates us as a firm is we, in the type of people that we want to bring in, we don't just bring a person that wants 8 to 5. We're quite specific to say we want people that are entrepreneurial minded, so that they don't see Chapu as a Ncumisa thing, but they see it as their thing as well. They are adding value, and they are partners within. So that entrepreneurial minded was quite important. And in consulting, you'll get a request today at 5 and they want it tomorrow at 8.
Yeah. And it has to be done. Like there's no other way.
So now if I'm going to deal with a person that's going to tell me, it's 5 o'clock, I'm going off. So so that was also quite critical for us to define the type of person we wanted to attract, but also define then the environment and the expectations that we wanted from our people. And that has really, really helped us then in being able to meet client demands. And also then having honest conversation with you to say, you know what, this was the expectation you didn't meet. And these are the reasons why you didn't meet expectations. How then do we help you then to do better as well? So having honest conversation doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to bring the person down, or, but you're really trying to empower that person and develop that person. And so that's how I try to, I think the environment allows that. We're more developmental as well, because we're also a training office. So that developmental and empowering way of dealing with things, but you are still being honest on the feedback as well.
I love that. And I think with what you've said now, I'm thinking of the entrepreneurship side of it, where you're saying you also try to make sure that everyone understands or sees this as their entrepreneurship journey, at Chapu. And I think the beauty of that is people now become accountable and people feel seen and responsible for that aspect of the organization. And also because a lot of people now want to get into entrepreneurship because people think it's something they own. It gives them flexibility. There's the hybrid way of working that gives them flexibility. I think it also allows people to run the organization in that manner, and it motivates the staff. But now, just to shift gears a little bit, I would assume you are for women empowerment.
Definitely. Definitely.
But I think what I want to ask you specifically around that, because you seem like a girl's girl.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask, how then, or what are some of the things, right, that you think are stopping women from getting high up in their corporate spaces or in their professions? And what is it that can be done, right, to empower women? Because I think it's a conversation that has been had many times. And theoretically, a lot of us have said a lot of things. But from a practical sense, what do you think are some of those things that can be done to make sure that women also see themselves going up the ranks?
Yeah. So I think one of the main things is you need to be able to see someone that looks like you firstly. So as an employee, at least I must see women, that are also moving up. Then it also gives you that confidence to say, actually, in this organization, I can actually move up. And that's what I've tried to do at Chapu. I'm the first female CEO. So in the firm is in its 11th year now. So I was the first one, but I was like, but I can't be the last one,
Yeah.
So you as a leader, you need to be intentional about creating a pipeline. And I've made sure that on the manager level, the women now exceed the number. I think we are close to 60% female in that. And when I joined, it was probably 60% male, and the women were not a lot. So I think as leaders, we then need to be intentional about the development of our women. So practically what I've done, I've even started an initiative called She Leads. And that initiative is for the women and it's for everyone, including trainees, and really talking about basic things on women, like to say how you dress, how you present yourself, how you talk, the basics. And then you go to from the softer skills, then you also go to the technical skills to get them ready for the next level. But what I also said was we can't also see men as their allies in this journey. So that's when then I said, okay, within the executive chairman, who was the founder of the firm, Mr. Mbalati, he then started then the men at Chapu, because you also need to be able to develop the men so that they can also being able, when they're being led by these women in terms of the emotional intelligence and so forth, they're at the right level. So those are the practical initiatives that we've done to really try and develop the woman and talk about women-related issues in a safe space and have really dedicated pipelines that you want. And I think also one thing that we don't want to do as leaders is to actually have those honest conversations, to say, Naki, I see a leader in you and I'm going to develop you because I foresee that you are not just an ordinary person. I think you can be part of. So having that, and I don't think by doing that you're trying to promise them, but you're developing them. And sometimes when they leave, I'm not hurt because I'm like, I've developed someone. And that person now is an ambassador of Chapu. Right. So you must not be hurt when someone leaves, and it means you're doing a good job in developing women. But I think really dedicated women development. And when I see something, when I'm on LinkedIn and it relates, I always share with my team to say, guys, there's this, check it out and see. And through that, some of the managers within Chapu were actually part of the Facet Women Developmental Program. And now we're trying then to say, okay, from those learnings that we got, how can we then develop further our women within the firm, but also not leaving the men behind? So I think we must not leave the men behind. Yeah. My mom always says, you can't all be CAs. You marry, you need to bring the men so that you can also marry CAs. That's what she always says. Yeah. So we also need to develop. And also because I'm a mom to a boy and a girl. So I always want to balance that.
Make sure we're not getting rid of men, okay?
Not getting rid of men. We're also developing both of men and also women.
I think that is so profound, because I think sometimes when we think of women empowerment, we think we are now saying we don't need men. But the idea of it is to say there's been instances where women have been put down, and we also want to bring them to that level, or to to make sure they have equal opportunities to what men have. And of course, having both men and women, I mean, God created both for a reason, right?
Yes.
So you want them to be able to feed off each other because they're bringing different perspectives, different experiences. And I think to some extent, we might never be able to get to a 50-50, but the idea is to give equal opportunities.
Yes.
What people do with those opportunities is really up to them at the end of the day, you know? So I think that's a good way of looking at it.
And also think, as a woman, you'll never be a man. I always say that.
Let's accept that.
I'm never going to lead like a man. I don't want to lead like a man, you know?
Yeah.
I've got my own way, you know, and I've got my own purpose. I've got my own way of leading. And my way, just because I'm a woman, doesn't make the other way wrong.
Right.
But I think as women as well, we shouldn't then try and copy and say, okay, this is what the male CEOs are doing, therefore I'm going to do that. No, lead your own way, because your way, as you say, it's different. Your perspective is different than that of a man.
So profound. I love it. Now, I mean, I'm listening to you. I could sit here all day, but I really could. But one thing I'm thinking about is when I'm looking at your journey, when I see you, I'm like, oh, she's got it all figured out. You know, her life, her career journey, amazing, great. But what would you say have been some of the challenges that come with being a leader, that also come with rising up the ranks? Because, I mean, we all think it's nice to be at the top, especially when we think about it, I guess, from an economic point of view. But also, I think it does come with its own challenges. What would you say are some of the challenges that you've had to go through? And how have you sort of managed to work around them?
Sure. Yeah. So I think challenges are there. And I think, as I've said, I'm one that says, okay, it's a challenge. How are we going to trash out this challenge?
Yeah.
So I always take them with a positive spirit, whatever challenge I've experienced. To think, that's a tough one. To think of a specific challenge is, I think, the main one would be, as I say, I'm shy and quiet, and people wouldn't expect you maybe hit back when they are not treating you well. And I'm able to stand my ground. So I'm able to say, no, I think here we are missing the boat.
Right.
And normally I wouldn't just say we are missing the boat and that's it. I'll give you reasons. Say, no, if you look, because I'm so in terms of the technicality, say, no, if you look at what the standard is requiring and what you are saying, it's not the same. So those are the main challenges that I've experienced, is that sometimes you kind of have to prove why you are sitting at the table, if I can put it like that, and why you are there. Hence, as women, we need to make sure that there's more people like us around the table.
They won't be shocked to see you there.
That won't be shocked to see you there. So I think that's one of the challenges. And then another, which was like, okay, it's a bit of a personal one. I think we're quite busy. Then I'm like, I'm expecting. And then it's like, hi, again, you know? And I was like, no, but you can't say that. You can't say again, you know? You can't say that. So it's things like that, but then you bring the person and you say, no, let me explain to you. When
was it a man or a woman?
It was a man. And, you know, when you say things like that, it's not appropriate. Not in any, you can't say that to anyone. So for me, when I try and I encounter those uncomfortable conversations, I will tell you so that you don't repeat it and explain it to you why you shouldn't say that to a woman. So that's quite important. Also, one of the challenges as a leader, there was, an employee where I had high hopes, but we're just not
getting to
understand each other. And now you're like, now how do I, when you realize the business relationship is not going to work. I think for me, that's always hard because you bring in this person and you've got
high
hopes of, that's always tough. And another one recently was we We got consulting, got a client, we're ready, we're in the boardroom, we got called in to sign the starting engagement letter and so forth. So we got to the boardroom, but now there's another firm that we don't know. And when now they explain that, no, you guys are going to be working together. Like, oh, okay. But Chapu's is going to be the one that's going to sign off on the report. And we're like, it's the first time for us in the space. But now looking at the timelines, looking at now the person, we don't know the people that we're going to be working. It didn't make, for us, as much as it made very much financial sense, it didn't make then business sense in terms of our values. Then we had to pull away. It's like, no, I think we're going to pull away from this engagement because now we won't be able to do it the Chapu way. We'd also be under pressure. We therefore won't be able to produce quality.
Yeah. And now you also compromised because you can't vouch for the other firm's quality.
So we're like, so we stepped away and we pulled off that engagement. It was a tough decision, especially when you know, you've landed this job that you wanted. But looking at the bigger picture, we were like, no, let's rather not partake because if something happens, because now we are the ones that are going to be signing off, it's not worth it and for us.
Jeez, that was a difficult decision to make. I think it took a lot of courage as well. When you say you're an introvert, I'm struggling to believe it.
Oh, my word.
I mean, I'm really struggling to believe it because it actually reminds me of a post I saw, was it yesterday or the other day? So this man posted around introverts being able to stand up for themselves more than extroverts do, because he was basically saying extroverts generally know how to make the noise.
Yes.
And so they know how to stand up for themselves. But then introverts have good way of standing out for themselves because they can do it in a very, like, they're not emotional about it. So, I mean, when you're speaking about it now, it reminds me of that post because you are the introverts that was probably speaking about, where you're able to stand out for yourself and be very courageous, because maybe sometimes we confuse courage and being extroverted.
Yes.
And you can be a courageous introvert.
Yes.
I think that's what I'm picking up from what you're saying.
Definitely, you can.
Yeah.
You can, because I think, remember, our first point, or my first point as a person, is to listen first and to understand. And as you are talking, I'm analyzing and dissecting, and I'm like, no, but this doesn't sound right. What? Why is Naki saying that? And then coming up and saying, okay, but I just want to understand, did you mean? And remember, you're not attacking, you're trying to understand. And then, so I think it gives you tact in also dealing with difficult clients. There was one where we had an overrun. And we had communicated it to the CEO. Overruns, you know. We had an overrun. We had communicated it to the CEO. He said, no, it's fine. You guys can continue, because there was a delay on the submission on their side. Like, okay, we continued. We shared it with him to say, this is what's going to cost. He said, no, continue. We now go to board to present, and we present under the impression that now the CEO has shared that there's an overrun. We're surprised. That no, the board didn't know. He hadn't communicated. He had only agreed with us, but he hadn't taken now the necessary. So now, it was not an easy board meeting, I must say. But I think what the saving grace was the quality of the output, or the quality of work, and they could really see. And also being calm. I think I'm quite calm by nature. So that calmness and not shouting, being professional and saying, okay, we hear you. But this is what we've done. Look at what we've done. And this is the value and the impact we've added to the organization. Then it changes the conversation as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the overruns one is always a difficult one. But also, I like what you said now. What backs it up as if you did produce quality work, it kind of makes the conversation a bit easier because then they're not complaining about two things, right? Because now if you have an overrun and they're not really happy with the work that you produced, then the overrun is not going to be paid for. So I completely hear what you're saying. But now just towards closing, because you have, there's influence, there's responsibility. And I guess you are influential. You're also someone who believes in impact, right? How then do you manage as a leader to still stay true to your values whilst you're also becoming very influential? Because I think it gets a little difficult, especially on social media, to be that person who is now known, you're invited to speak at different spaces, you're trying to grow, there's a little bit of fame coming up. So how do you stay true to your values in those moments?
Okay. So I think funny enough, we're talking at church and I was saying, in everything that happens, you must not focus on you. You're saying, I'm doing this all for the glory of God.
Mm.
And that, then that it won't result in you being boastful or,
Right.
So that, I think for me, my faith really helps me in that, to say all that I'm doing, it's the purpose that God has called me. I want to make an impact in the communities that my firm has presence in. And currently we are in 5 provinces, working on our 6th one. So, and it's not because of it's because of God. So I think God is at the foundation of everything we do. And also in terms of now the impact, it's not impact just for the sake of, okay, it's Nelson Mandela Day, we are doing something. What we've actually done as Chapu is to say we're going to adopt schools that we're going to support. Obviously, we're not taking over the role of government, but in terms of now supporting the learners, because those are our future leaders. So I'm quite committed in future leaders, development of those future leaders, and making an impact in them so that they also are able to make an impact in their community. So even in the speaking, you'd also assess to say, is it aligned then to my values? Is it aligned to my values? Is it aligned to the firm's values? And likely what helps me is that my values and the firm's values are aligned,
Right.
So it's easy. So once it's aligned to the values of the firm, it's easier then for me to then say, okay, I want to make an impact. Because remember, the impact is not perfect. As much as you're running the audit firm, the impact is to make a business where people that wouldn't be given a chance to get employment are actually able to get employment. And that's the impact that I want. And if I've made that impact and it's for the glory of God, then I'm
happy.
fine. I'm fine. I'm happy.
Oh.
And then the money comes later. But it's not I think the minute you start chasing money,
it sort of derails you, right? When you start chasing money, then it's everything is centered around it. And sometimes you're then going to have to compromise on your values for you to be able. It's like when you walked out from that situation where you had to sign off, but you can't vouch for all the work that is being done on the audit. That is you choosing your values over money, because in most instances, people say, let me see how this goes. we'll figure it out.
Figure it out as we go. And that's importance then of financial discipline, because if you are in a tight corner, you're gonna take those ones that you shouldn't be taking.
Exactly.
And we also we're quite clear even in our clients. When we're doing the acceptance, we do a rigorous risk assessment process to say, is this now aligned with our values? Aligned with what are we going to be able to deliver quality work? If not, then you step away.
I love it. I love it. I told you guys I could sit here forever. But I mean, we've come to the end of the episode. Wow. Can you let me know what living in fullness means to you? When you think of the terms living in fullness, what comes to mind?
I think living in fullness is living in wellness. And wellness is your physical wellness, financial wellness, and also making an impact. Because we are here on earth on borrowed time to really glorify God and to take on His purpose for us. So for me, that's what living in fullness is, really being aligned and committed to the work of God and making an impact in the communities that I'm in, and then also in the people that I meet.
I love it.
what it
I love it. And you've touched on two of our values, holistic well-being, holistic growth, as well as purpose-driven. So it's a lot to do with holistically growing as a person, all facets of yourself. And that brings me back to the balance we were speaking about earlier, that sometimes when we think of balance, we think it's equal. But sometimes, depending on what season you're in, the scale just needs to keep changing. It just doesn't have to fall off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what it is. But
I'm glad I got the values right.
yes, you did. It was so lovely to have you here, Ncumisa. I think we would have you again for a part 2. I'm very sure people would want you to come back, but we're going to ask them to please leave comments. And also in the description box, we will put where they can find you. Where can they find you?
So they can find me at chapu.co.za. That's our website, or email info@chapu.co.za. We are also on LinkedIn as well. Chapu Chartered Accountant.
Nice. And for yourself, can they contact you on LinkedIn as well?
Yeah, they can contact me. It's Ncumisa Saba-Mkunqwana on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ncumisa.
No,
it was nice having you
thank
here.
Thank you. I enjoyed the conversation. I didn't know what to expect, but I think I enjoyed it.
And you did very well. Thank you very much. And thank you to our viewers. It's been lovely to have you. Please don't forget to like, to share, to comment. Please do share with all the people in your circles. There's nothing but being on Living in Fullness that teaches you a lot about your career and your professional journey. So it's been lovely having you. I am out, and I'm your host, Naki hLOMAYI.